What's up, everybody? Welcome to Mr. Straight Facts Show. I am Mr. Straight Facts. So let's get in it. Let's get in it. Let's get to it. In today's news, we're going to go over a video first of Representative Jimmy Gomez. He was in Congress today discussing something that we need to talk about the taxes and what they're trying to do with Medicare and Medicaid and different things that are going to affect the average citizen and especially the working poor. If you're making $15,000 or less, there are some things that's going to happen with this bill they're trying to pass. If you're making $15,000 up to $30,000, there's some things that's going to happen too. We're going to hear him talk about it, and then we're going to try and break it down a little bit with a little research that I found, but as he goes through it, so we'll be stopping up and down on the video. But I was just shocked to hear these things, and so was Representative Gomez. And you just may be shocked to hear it too if you didn't see it today or hear it today. All right, let's go ahead and get ready for it and show it to you. What's up, Woke Mike? This is Representative Jimmy Gomez.
Mr. Barthold, can you help me with explain a little bit on this? I was just looking at the chart here, and it says that in the calendar year 2027, someone that's making less than $15,000 will see an increase in federal taxes by 18.7%. Is that correct?
Yes, Mr. Gomez, and that's a consequence of loss of that premium tax credits, health care.
Okay, so, and then in calendar year 2020, anybody making less than 15,000 sees an increase of 53.5%. Anybody who's making 15,000 to 30,000 sees an increase by 11.7%. Is that correct?
Yeah, what calendar year are we in, Mr. Gomez?
2029. It's the next page.
2029. Yes.
And then we see the next page in 2031. Anyone making less than 15,000 sees a. Check this out. I thought this was a mistake. I thought I was not reading this correctly. An increase in their taxes of 74.3%, and from 15,000 to 30,000 of 20.6%. Is that correct? Or is that, did you guys make a mistake, or is that like?
No mistake in the numbers, but an important thing to remember is in lower brackets, it's actually hard to measure the denominator because there are some taxpayers that are getting refundable tax credits, for example, and so there's some with negative tax rates, and so.
All right, let's just break down what we heard so far. So in this tax bill or healthcare plan that you're tax bill they're trying to pass that has to deal with healthcare. You heard right. This man said anybody making less than $15,000 a year. Say you're making $14,500. Once this thing passes that the Republicans want to pass, your tax bracket, your taxes will go up 18.7%. Now, when he addressed him and said, well, that doesn't sound like it makes sense. What's this 18.7%? Well, he says that's due to the loss of premium tax credits. Now, for those of us who may not know, and some of us who do, the premium tax credits are what happens with like Obamacare or the Affordable Health Care Plan, right? What happens is that whatever you make per year, let's say it's under $15,000 a year, you are accredited a certain amount of credits. You know, so healthcare may be for a 3-person family or whatever, if you're doing it for 3 people or whatever it may be. Let's just say one person. Just say one person. It may be $700 a month. Well, the tax credit, depending on how much money you make, less than $15,000, could give you like 630. So that means you're only paying $70 per month for insurance. And that's because you don't make enough for the cost of living in your particular area. So let's say I'm in California. If I was making less than $15,000 a year and it was $700, now I pay $100. Well, my rent's going to be high. Everything else is going to be high. So I'm barely getting by, if getting by at all, without creating debt. So the working poor will get that premium tax credit. Mind you, that's giving me $650 or whatever, 600, whatever, over $600. Now I got to go find insurance without that tax credit. So now your insurance is going to move from $70 a month up to over $600 per month because the tax credits are gone. So they're forcing people off of insurance because I don't know anybody who's making $15,000 a year that would be able, I mean, a kid would not be able to afford insurance, rent, a car of some sort, even if they were just taking a bus or a train. Who could afford that lifestyle? You'd have to be living in a cardboard box somewhere. And these people, instead of taxing the rich, their fair share, they're talking about raising 18.7% on people who are making $15,000 or less. I thought they were supposed to be making prices go down and giving people tax breaks. They just said your taxes will increase. That's not what Trump told them, and that's not what he promised them. But their guy is out here professing that it's going to go up. And that's not the only thing he just said. That was by 2027. That's like in the next 2 years. But they're talking about 27, 29, and 31. So every 2 years from 27, like it's 2025 now, 2 years from now, they're going to increase that. 15,000 or less, they're going to increase your taxes by 18.7%. 2 years later, the same people will see an increase of 53.5% on their taxes. 15,000 or less. But those who are 15,000 to 30,000 will receive a 27-something% increase on their taxes. Why in the hell are poor people paying that much money? How could they live? This doesn't make sense at all. I'm like, and then he tried to, and then they said by 2031, they're talking about raising it 74.3%. And he's trying to focus it on negative tax rates and positive tax rates. That's what he's going to go into right now. And what he's talking about is that some people get paid so little under 15,000 that they actually receive money back from the government or whatever. So that's a negative. So they receive funds from the government. And the ones who have like a positive, those are the ones that are going to see a little bit less than 74. But he's right. He's talking about 74 is like going from a negative going to zero. Let's say you were doing like a negative 30. Then you go to zero, that's 30 points. And then from there, the 74, so you got 44.3 points above zero. So your taxes will be 44.3% on your income. Increased. If you weren't paying anything, it's increased by 44. What is this? I mean, it literally sounds like you're trying to make the poor so damn poor that they're going to have to go into debt to be able to live. And if they can't pay that off, which they can't, not unless they win the lottery, they're going back to indentured servitude or slavery, because there is no way in hell someone like, and then you're gonna be taking over, robots are gonna be taking over most people's jobs. AI, come on, man. This doesn't make sense. Let's keep it moving, but this doesn't make sense. Billionaires don't give a damn about us. I know that, but they don't give a damn about American citizens. And many of us may not be in this situation, but if we got a heart, it's like, come on, we can't be doing that to American citizens. These people are working their butts off. Just because they're not being able to get over the hump because they may not have the skill set for it, or they may not even know what they're brilliant at because they were never told that. So therefore, they don't know what they're great at. They just know what they can get by with. There has got to be, it's crazy how they haven't even thought of a plan to help poor people go from zero to hero. They've been thinking of a plan of how to take more money out of poor people. Rich people are literally saying, how can we squeeze more money out of Americans? Because I don't want to give up a penny. Matter of fact, I want you to give me some of their tax money. They're going to pay in the taxes. We're going to raise it up, and we're going to raise it up to, like, 7 trillion. I want about 2 trillion of that brought to the rich people. That's what they're trying to do. It's blatant. And I'm like, it's getting to the point where Americans might have to have a revolution. We might have to go into war with these people, because there's no way in hell that America is going to be pushed that low. Think about it. If that's the case for the poor, what do you think they're going to do to the middle class people? They're going to push you down to poverty. Going to push them down to slavery, and push the people who I think they got a little bit of riches. They're going to become the middle class. The ones who just have $1 million, $1.5 million, they're going to become the middle class. They're pushing everybody down. This should not be something that any American should be like, okay, billionaires I can see, but anybody under billionaires should be freaking out. But we're going to continue listening to this nonsense, but we got to hear it so that we know what they're talking about, what they're planning.
So you're adding up some with negative tax rates and positive tax rates, so it's like dividing a modest
Barthel,
changeover by zero.
Well, here's the thing. This is what your own tax brackets suggest. And one of the things that we have my Republican colleagues over here saying, hey, we're not doing tax on tips, which we know is actually pretty limited. Oh, we're not going to do X, Y, and Z, but we're screwing over people who are making less than $30,000 a year. And what I actually find offensive is because my parents never made more than $38,000 a year in their entire lifetime after working 4 to 6 jobs a week to make ends meet, right? And then we have Donald Trump and his chaotic, reckless tariff policy that is creating so much uncertainty that it's driving up the cost of living in this country. At first, it was $4,900 a year. Then it became $3,800 a year. Either way, the people at the lower income brackets are getting screwed over by a Republican majority that doesn't give a damn about them. Then on top of that, we know this, the people that are under $30,000 a year are most likely to be on Medicaid, most likely to live in rural areas, more likely to be in urban areas that are the working poor. But then they're bragging about, you know what? The top income brackets make the most money, so we're going to give them the highest amount of refunds. That's insane. And they have no shame about it. You have no shame when it comes to hurting working men and women in this country. I'm somebody that was supposed to not go to college. I ended up working at Subway and Target. I would make $700 a week working not 9 to 5, but 5 in the afternoon to 9 the next day. I had zero health care. And to me, you would tell somebody in my place, you know what? We're helping you out, just giving you a little bit. But the billionaires are the ones that make the most money and deserve the most help. That's your logic. But I like to quote one billionaire when it comes to Warren Buffett that says that a lot of people shouldn't be punished because it wasn't determined on what they did. It was the happenstance of their birth. But you all want to tout a tax plan that increases taxes on people making under $30,000 a year. the folks that are struggling, and then cutting their Medicaid on top of that, but yet you want people to have more babies. That's the most insulting thing I've ever heard in my life. With that, I yield back.
Exactly. I am for Representative Jimmy Gomez. Kudos. Kudos. Makes no sense. Trying to get people to have more babies and then taking the rug out from under them economically and enriching themselves with poor people's taxes. Sounds like they want to be, like the government. They want it to be like a monarchy, like there's a king coming or some shit where you're paying all the taxes to him and they keep you poor and they get richer and richer. I mean, that's what it appears to be, because it has no grounding in sense whatsoever. I don't see what human being would want this. These Trumpian people, I don't know what planet where you don't lost your marbles. I mean, you're not paying attention and it's just going to creep up on your doorstep. 57% taxes. It's just going to creep up on your doorstep and you're going to be like, what? My check has what in it? Because I wanted to do the math, and I was looking on ChatGPT and trying to figure out the math of like what when all he said, plug it in and give me a scenario. Like, what the hell is this? And it came back with this tax hike. What would happen to say a family or a single person that it's just scraping by with $14,500 a year. And so this is the breakdown that I got from that. It says that's roughly $1,208 per month before taxes. Already this individual is likely spending anywhere between $500 to $800 a month on rent or sharing a cramped space, right? And probably living with multiple people, and depending on what state you're in, if you're only paying that low. $200 plus on food, and that's kind of like optimistic, right? $100 on or more, 100 plus on transportation. That's if you're taking it public or otherwise. But if you got a car, it's going to be more than that. But if you're at this level, you probably won't have a car because it's too much of an expense. But then again, sometimes we live outside our means. But let's just go with public and some other, service, like Uber. Then $100 or plus for basic necessities, things that you need in the house, or even just clothing like, underwear, toothpaste, toilet paper, paper towels, whatever. Now you have to factor in insurance, healthcare insurance, which is currently being subsidized for the poorest people. Like we just gave you a scenario of this one right here, gave me a scenario that this person received enough credits that their insurance was $20 a month because of that. But now it's going to move up to anywhere between $300 to $700 a month. Where's that money coming from? When over 60% of Americans, I think it's like 63, but we're just going to say 60% of Americans could live paycheck to paycheck. And there's like 75 or something like that, or 75 to 80% of Americans wouldn't survive a random $400 bill. Like if it just came in and you just like, oh, I got hurt, I hurt my leg and going to the doctor, and it just like it costs $400, which that's insane because it would cost more than that. But $400, that would break you. You wouldn't have it. The average, like 80% of the people in America are living in that situation. And you're telling me that a insurance bill goes from 20 to up to $700 per month? Now, I know they took the penalties away that were under Obama, that if you didn't have it, you had to pay $1,200 and stuff like that. I don't know if it's taken from every state, if it's just taken from one state. But if they're going to reinstate that, then that's $1,200 or whatever it is, $1,500 that you're going to have to pay if you don't have insurance. And how can you afford insurance when they already checked out how much you made per year, $14,500, and knocks you down to $20 a month to be able to survive? How you going to get up to $700? You won't. Which will end up happening is you're going to end up going, this person, not you, I'm going to say that, but this person would have to go to ER every time they need a doctor. And who pays that bill? You and me. You and me. And the reason we even did some of that is because of the fact that so many people were going to ER that the taxes and everything being used to be able to subsidize that was extraordinary. So to be able to bring in healthcare, ACA, if you can afford it at $20 and we're paying $600, that's cool. That's way less than every time you go to an ER. If you took the ambulance, it could be $500 to like $1,000, depending on where you're at, just for the travel to the hospital in ER. Then the be in ER, waiting and all stuff like that, and they have to take you, and then they give you a room. You could leave out of that place owing $100,000 just for a day or two. Heaven forbid if you need an emergency gallbladder or whatever, appendix operation, you could be coming out of there owing $200,000 easy if you don't have insurance. You can't afford that. You're not going to pay it. So the government's going to have to subsidize it somehow. That's why having insurance is a lot better and a lot cheaper for the American citizen and for the individual person. And preventative maintenance makes it so that you're getting checked. So these particular things aren't something that's going to randomly happen on a higher level because you're getting checked up all the time, every year. Therefore, you kind of have an understanding of where your health stands. Your blood pressure is too high or too low, or you're anemic, whatever it may be, you know, because you're getting checked every year and you get a blood test and it gives you a lot of different things. You can't get that without insurance. You have to be going to ER to do it. These people know this and they do not care. All of this is in tandem with tariffs that are 10% some places, 25% for other items. Now in China, 30%. When it used to be 0 to 3%, and on average 2.5%. Now it's 10 times more. In some situations, it's and you're gonna raise that on. So now these people who are making $15,000 or less go to the grocery store and everything's in between 10 to 30% higher. We're gonna have a lot of starving people, and that 80% or whether 60% of Americans who are living check to check is going to increase. Because if you're living check to check, which is like 60% of Americans right now, just think of everything going up 30% or 25% or even 10%. And your paycheck ain't going up nowhere near that amount. If you're lucky, 3%. That means you're going to be able to afford less. You used to go get, a carton of eggs, 12 eggs. Now you got to go buy that little 4 or 6 pack. Because you can't keep buying it like that. Then you got to ration stuff. Oh, we're going to have like an egg a day. I mean, we're going to live like we're in famine. I can't see Americans having to live like it's 1920 all over again. And it's something we did to ourselves, not something where, let's say, not us Americans, but when the economy fell, of course, rich people effed up then too. But most Americans didn't know what the hell was going on. It just happened. And I'm tripping how the fact that we saw the 20s, it's in our history books. Why in the hell are we trying to revisit it on purpose? These billionaires, man, it's insane. but I'm with Representative Gomez. They're talking about increasing taxes. And I wish he had gotten into what are the billionaire taxes going to look like? There's going to go to zero. I guarantee you. They're already at zero. They're not going to increase. On average, it's like 8.25% taxes they pay. When somebody at $15,000 a year is paying 15% tax, they're literally paying 8.25 on the regular. Some of them are paying zero, and they're making $1 trillion a year paying zero taxes on it. And what kills me is they'll tell you in a heartbeat, I pay a lot of taxes. I'm like, what are you talking about? The payroll taxes. That ain't you paying taxes, bro. That's the money that you take out of my paycheck and that person's paycheck and that person's paycheck. It all amounts to this huge number, and you give it to the government because you owe on payroll taxes. That's not money that came out of your pocket. That's money that came out of our pocket for working. You gave it to us, the whole amount, and you took some of it back, threw it in a pot. And I don't know how many, it depends on what company, how you run your company, if it's owed yearly, quarterly, or whatever. But while you had it in the pot, you was investing it somewhere, holding it. It created an interest. Then you send off the amount of money that you supposedly owe, that we all owed. That's what you're talking about with payroll taxes. And they want to act like, yeah, we spent $1 trillion on payroll. I said, you didn't spend shit. That's our money that you owed us, but we had to pay taxes on. That's not you, but companies get to write these things off, or at least give them away while making money off of it. It's crazy. Like I said, I'm working on taking down the billionaires, because you can't keep fucking with Americans and we don't do nothing but just keep taking it. Like, thank you. Can I have another? Thank you. Can I have another? You slapped me this time. Okay, thank you. Can I have another? No. If you're putting the wrath on poor, defenseless people, what kind of hate you got in your heart? Or love for money that you don't give a damn about people? That's the devil. That's the devil. The love of money. They love money more than they love people. Because I don't care how much money I had. If I was, had money like Elon Musk, I'd be blessing people left and right. Not to control them, but to give them a leg up in life so they can enjoy their lives. But no. I've been wanting to pay more taxes so that we can build other opportunities for other people, so that they can get to enjoy their lives and their gifts. Building the next generation of bright people and economically sound people. I've been going all over the United States, putting economic centers in poor areas so they can come and learn and get investments. Why the hell would you want this money and power if all you want to do is hoard it and buy stupid shit that gets old and you got to buy another one? When you can invest in people and they grow up to be beautiful human beings, productive human beings, creative human beings, creating other human beings and giving that same love back. These people are the devil. Because there's no way you can look at another human being, heart and everything, brain, love, all that inside them, and say fuck them. They ain't did nothing to you. I keep on hearkening back to hearing like Mr. Wonderful talk about poor people like they're trash, and like all of them commit crimes and shit like that. He hoarded them all in like one little, it's almost like herded them as cattle and said these are worthless human beings because they're poor and down on the street and they're doing all this crime. You're not even near them. You don't walk past them. You drive by and have judgment. You don't know what gem is amongst them. You don't know what they've been through. And you can't say that if something happened in your life, you may not become one of them. It's just pathetic to me how people look up to people like that. Just pathetic. So that's what he was talking about, Representative Jimmy Gomez, how people don't give a damn, these billionaires. I found it refreshing that he was saying that to their faces, and that he actually brought up the fact that he worked for $700 a week, and he, or whatever he said, a month, whatever he says, and he was working at a place they worked from, like, you know, from the night until the next day, multiple hours a day, not an 8-hour day, 12-hour day, whatever it was, and still was scraping to get by. And people like that didn't give a damn about these people being hardworking people, just not getting paid enough. The other thing that happened today in the news that I'm going to talk about, and it really, let's just skip to just a little bit about Robert F. Kennedy Jr. He was in a meeting with House and Senate today, and they were asking him about the measles. He got into a good, like, heated debate with one of the guys, but he said that, you know, that you should get the vaccine. This took a while for him to do. I'm like, okay, credited. He's saying it now, but we done lost a couple babies, at least a couple babies, before he got to that point. And then they asked him, you know, what did he think, you know, about, you know, these you know, about him doing what he's doing, you know, his particular position, his job. And what, you know, like, he's saying that, you know, what's your opinion on things? Should they take the vaccine? I don't think that I should be in the position of telling families what they should and should not do. Then get the fuck up out the job, bro. Because that's what you're there for. I am sick of people, and this is what kills me. Only in America can unqualified white men have positions of leadership and high economic sound jobs, getting paid hundreds of thousands, if not millions, not knowing what the fuck they're talking about, but playing it off like they know what the fuck they're talking about. Where on earth can you work and make, you know, a few $100,000 or even 150 or whatever it may be, and they come to you and say, sir, I would like to know, what is your decision on this new plan that you have coming out? I don't know. To be honest with you, I just don't know just yet. I don't feel like I should be telling you what to do with your business, you know, and how you gonna sell it. Well, you're the general sales manager, dipshit. You're supposed to tell me. Well, you know, you can go sell what you want to sell, depending on the, what the fuck? You would not have a job if you came in and told your bosses that you had to answer to, I don't know about the sales. I know I'm the general sales manager, but I kind of say buy what you want to buy. You know what I'm saying? Buy our product, buy their product. That is the summation of what this man is doing. Your job is to inform people to the best of your knowledge. Sometimes you're going to get it wrong. That's human. We're not going to be mad at the fact you got it wrong. The reality is you did your homework, and whatever you find out, you report back and say it works 70% of the time. 30% of the time, certain things can happen. Why would those particular things happen? If you have high blood pressure, if you have this, if you have that, if you're prone to be allergic to blah, 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 those are the things I would watch out for. But for 70% of the people, there are no side effects. That's all we want. We could take that risk with the 70%. If the other one over here says, well, it's another one over here is a vaccine that's 97%, and these things happen. That is your job. Tell us what the good things are, and you want to be transparent, I'm happy with that. Tell us what the bad things are. we can make an educated decision or a responsible decision on our part based on you being transparent. But this fool sitting all sideways, like, I don't know what should be, could be. I don't feel right telling you what. Get the fuck out of the job, bro. Why you there? Why you at work and not being able to come and tell your bosses who give you the money to continue doing the work in which you do, you don't have any skin in this game. You don't care about the health of American people. Because if you did, you would take this job a lot more serious, because there are people out there who have no idea about science whatsoever. They have no idea of what this medicine and what that medicine is going to do to them. But they do love their baby and they want the pain to stop. And if you ain't doing your job to make sure that these parents and these family members and all that aren't getting the best out of you and your scientist, what the fuck would you want this job for? Just so you can have a bunch of conspiracy theories so everybody's confused about what to do? That's how you run a country. Confuse the fuck out of everybody. It makes no sense, y'all. I just don't get it. Why would you want a job that you're not qualified for? It's painstakingly obvious. You don't know what the fuck you're doing, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. It's obvious that you don't care about the American people, because if you did, and you really wanted to be transparent like you say you are, you wouldn't be taking weeks to come out to save people's lives. The first thing you would have did said, we need to take the vaccine, but make sure it's this vaccine, and make sure if you are allergic to this, it's not for you, and you could take vitamin pills, whatever, A pills, until your immune system's up for it. But speak to your physician. They're heavily equipped, more so than I, with which one of those would better benefit you. That's transparent, bro, and it cares. This fool, I don't know. I don't feel right telling people what they should do. What'd you give your kids? I don't feel right telling you because it'll make you feel like you got to do what I do. You're stupid. Your family was right. You are a dumbass. And the voting people and Donald Trump, we already knew was a classified, bona fide dipshit. And you guys we have got Laurel and Hardy running the damn presidency. I mean, the three stooges, but in this situation, it's a whole gang of stooges. Kristi Noem, the one who killed her dog because it wouldn't hunt when she wanted it to. So when it decided to hunt, she's like, I didn't tell you to hunt, bow. Just gadded up her dog because it hunted 3 hours after she tried to take it hunting. It finally caught on, like, chickens. I'll go show my boss that I can hunt and go kill a chicken. And she's like, and took him out. Like, gangster style. Took it out to an open field. Bow. And wrote about it. This is a lady. Oh, Jesus Christ. What do we come to? This is what happens, I'm guessing, when racist white people feel threatened. They vote in people just having the ideology of hate, disrespect, and white supremacy, even though they're dumbing in a box of rocks. That was RFK. Oh, and also RFK Jr., he hired a guy by the name of David Geyer. You can go look into the research about it. But he hired him to be a scientist that overlooked certain things that deal with, I'm guessing, autism. And one of the ladies was asking him the question in Congress today. I believe it was today. She asked, "You hired this guy." First, she asked him. She rope-a-doped him. She said, "Do you think it's right to hire somebody, a doctor or whatever, who's harmed children to be a part of, someone who takes care of children, whatever?" He's like, he looked at her like, obviously, like, no. Confidence. Looked at her like cockeyed, like, no. Then she proceeded to say, well, you hired David Geyer, and David Geyer was charged by, I guess, I don't know how he got charged by this, because he wasn't a doctor. He was pretending to be a doctor and giving Alzheimer's patients, these kids who had, I forgot what it's called, but I'll get it in a second. But he's giving these kids hormone pills. Hormone pills. As young as 8. He was giving these children hormone pills. He wasn't a doctor. And he got charged $10,000 or something like that for those allegations. Autism. Thank you, Lynn. Autism. And I'm sitting here like, how in the world are you pretending to be a doctor and treating patients, giving them, hormone pills, and telling them it's gonna, these hormone blockers, that it's gonna help people? They were trusting you as a doctor, and he lied. His dad's a doctor, but he's not. He's not even a scientist. And so this is one thing that got RFK Jr. heated. Got him heated to the point where he was like, you're misrepresented, because he ended up suing them because, for something, suing the board or whatever, and he won like so many millions of dollars or whatever. And she's like, I ain't even having that no matter what. Then he said, do you really want to know? Because Josh Hawley was the head of that committee, and he let him finish his statement after she yielded her time back. And he went on to dig an even deeper hole, saying that, no, we didn't hire him to be the head of autism. We hired him, the family, I guess the Geyer family, maybe his daughter and his son, I don't know who it is. He said Geyer family. They were hired as scientists, and it was like some kind of third-party contract or whatever. They hired him as scientists to be able to look at the research about autism and all this shit like that. And then the lady kind of came back. She interrupted. She says, but he's not a scientist. How do you justify hiring somebody who literally lied to parents of children that as young as 8 with autism, that you're going to give them hormone blockers and you're going to help their kids, and you misrepresented yourself as your dad and signed documents as your dad because your dad's a doctor and you're not? What? Why isn't he in jail? How you misrepresent yourself as a doctor and prescribe something to children? These people are batshit crazy. I wouldn't even subscribe Tylenol to somebody. I'm not going to tell you what to take right then and there. I'm not a doctor. I would suggest you go to a doctor or call a nurse up on the phone, get something free. I'll tell you what I did, but I'm not going to sit here and throw on a white jacket, sign a doctor's real name. Do you understand the depravity that's in your fucking mind to sit there and look at another human being and lie to them as they entrust you with their child's life? They don't know what the fuck you just gave their kids. You done lied to them already. For all I know, you giving my kid poison, and you put this dude in a position of power while talking shit about doctors and scientists who are qualified for their position. These are the same people that talk trash during the COVID era, telling people to take horse medications and all this other stuff, and you can take vitamin A for the measles. You could die doing that because people take too much of vitamin A, it will kill you. And this man is offering over-the-counter witch doctor shit that's going to happen, that's going to fix it. as if they're the same. It took him a while to come around to tell people whether the vaccine works. And he announced it on Twitter, y'all. What the fuck has this country come to? I mean, we literally got idiots that our kids are supposed to look up to. My children are smarter than him. My children are smarter than Trump. They make more sound decisions. And they're children, they're 20-something. They're supposed to be the ones making all the damn mistakes. It's crazy how now we have got idiotic white nationalists, white men and women leading our country who are quote unquote educated but still stupid. Got law degrees. Dumb. Scary, y'all. Scary. Why are we here? Okay? Why are we here? I'm going to say the best for last. And that's Donald Trump, y'all. Donald Trump goes on his been around the world an I tour. And he goes over to Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and he been nothing but praises and making decisions like he owns the country. He ain't making like decisions for Americans. He's making decisions for these countries while they give him money, signing deals and stuff like that. Nobody here on American soil knows what the fuck he's doing or why he's doing it. Just making final decisions on American decisions like what we need. And he's a dipshit. He's sitting here releasing sanctions on people. For what? Because they gave you money? Did the reason why they were sanctioned, did it cease? No. Qatar want to give him a $400 million plane and invest over $600 billion, which he has been talking about like trillions of dollars going to help Americans. I don't know. I don't believe in his numbers. When you think about Donald Trump, I had this like bird's eye view of Donald Trump today. I'm going to try and read him today because I've been trying to figure this dude out for the longest. And how people pump him up and talk about he's a rich guy, he can negotiate and all, you know, the MAGA minions and all that. But you know what really showed me who Donald Trump really is? Is him fawning over Saudi Arabia or Qatar and this 13-year-old plane. The $400 million jet. It's 13 years old. Ours is 35 years old. We got one being built, but it's ours. It was built with American hands and American pride and American technology. It's at the top of the line with the technology in it. This fool's looking on the inside and seeing the gold and all the, you know, the trappings. It's supposed to be about being safe while you're in the air so nobody knows you're coming. To be able to take a nuclear hit. That Qatar plane is not taking a nuclear hit. It will fall the fuck apart. The technology in our planes is what matters, not the trappings on the inside. That's what he fell in love with. That's one thing that kind of made me just kind of listen a little bit deeper into the real soul of this man. So he is talking on the plane about, you know, all the different things. And he said something to the effect of every time he comes to the UAE and, you know, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, whatever, he lands his plane, then he sees their plane. He's competing, sees their plane, and They're playing so much better than us, and we're the number one country and richest country in the world. We should have something just as good or better than theirs. So you're going to take a hand-me-down? Because trust me, if they're handing over a 13-year-old plane, that means they got a brand new one that's better than the one you got. So you're going to be the one showing up next time in their used-ass vehicle while they got a new one. How does that sound? Pretty simpish to me. It makes no sense. Another thing that made me tap into his brain a little bit, kind of like figure out who he was. I'm trying to read him, like I said. So I believe I have a video set up. Whereas when he was running for president in 2016, and he was talking to, he was at the debate with Hillary Clinton. He said a few things, but we all, if you haven't seen it yet, have seen the video where he says, well, if Qatar's going to give me a plane, then I'd be stupid not to take it. I'd just be stupid. Who's stupid? Try to use that Jedi mind trick that you must be stupid. And, you know, I'm not, so I'm going to take it. So stupid people won't take it. So he's trying to make it seem like you're a dumbass if you don't take it. And I'm smart. It's in my genes. Remember my uncle from MIT? Ain't nobody that damn stupid. Well, I take it back. His people are that stupid. But just in 2016, let's hear what he had to say about Qatar, or Qatar, he said, or Qatar. I think he said it right, but that way. And Saudi Arabia and all that. When he was talking to Hillary Clinton, who has the Clinton Foundation, and these rich people had donated money to her. Let's hear what he had to say back then. It'd be pretty poignant to kind of understand where this man is coming from. See if I got it set. I do.
Criminal enterprise, Saudi Arabia giving $25 million, Qatar, all of these countries. You talk about women and women's rights. So these are people that push gays off buildings. These are people that kill women and treat women horribly, and yet you take their money. So I'd like to ask you right now, why don't you give back the money that you've taken from certain countries that treat certain groups of people so horribly? Why don't you give back the money? I think it would be a great gesture.
You heard it? You heard it? He said Qatar, whatever, and Saudi Arabia. He's saying, why don't you give back the money? These people throw gay people off buildings, or businesses at first, in buildings. I think that was a slip of the tongue, the business part. So I'm about to read Donald Trump. When Donald Trump right here in this video is talking about Hillary and Qatar and Saudi Arabia giving her a lot of money, he's jealous. This is jealousy. This isn't all him trying to say it's better, that he's a better human being. He's jealous that they gave her money and give him none. He's jealous at this point. That's why he's bringing it out. But he's trying to make it seem like it's immoral to do. But they weren't offering Trump any money. But now they are. He's on the opposite side of the fence. It would be stupid not to take it. So in 2015-ish, or 16, you thought it was just bad to take because it was being given to her and Clinton, her husband, Bill Clinton, not you, Donald Trump. So you're pissed off at the fact that this time that Qatar and all the other people give them money but don't give you any. And so Donald Trump and his family have been working hard to tap into Qatar and Saudi Arabia's money. So you realize, again, I told you yesterday if you weren't here to see it, the first person that he went to see, the first tour is usually for a president, is our biggest ally. That would be Canada. Every president goes to Canada first. This first presidency, he went to Qatar or Qatar and to Saudi Arabia. His second presidency, his first stop, same place. See, he never had a problem with these people throwing people off the bridge, off buildings and stuff like that. Under his reign, they took Khashoggi into a room and chopped him up and brought him out in pieces. After that, they gave his son-in-law $2 billion to invest. Try to save his 666 building, whatever it was. Should have told him something right then. 666. They were demonic to begin with. So you see, he was jealous that she was getting money. Now he's going after the money. No problem whatsoever. Willing to take a used $400 million plane that they don't even use no more. That $400 million plane is their used vehicle. It's 13 years old. They're like, phew. They have brand new ones. And they're like, I got a $400 million one that's sitting in the stable. And you guys saw the pictures of that. It's dope on the inside. And Donald Trump fell in love with it and was like, gimme, gimme, gimme. I'm still reading him. Yeah, Azure was 666 was the name of the building address for Kushner, Jared Kushner's building that was going under until these billionaires decided to invest, and he was able to pay off his balloon payment to be able to keep it. But yeah, so I'm still reading Donald Trump on this. So if you got to see earlier, if you saw my video earlier, I posted maybe on TikTok, maybe not on YouTube. I talked about growing up for myself. When I grew up, single mother, 3 kids. So I was a latchkey kid. I'd come home from school as long as I can remember, climb through a window or whatever, get into the house, cook me something to eat real quick, eat something. It was mostly something like a grilled cheese sandwich or whatever, bologna sandwich, whatever, right? Then go do my homework, get finished with my homework, do my chores. After I do my chores, go sit and watch the cartoons, right? Until somebody older came home. I was a baby. So we grew up poor. My mom working multiple jobs just to get by. And I remember, because I was the youngest, I got hand-me-downs all the time. Cousin here, my brother, if my uncle had something, whatever, depends on what size, whatever I was. I cannot tell you how much I hated garage sales. I hated thrift shops, because every time you go, your parents will pull out something that full on embarrass you going to school. So you only went so you made sure mom didn't give you some bikies. You know what I'm saying? You just like some bikes. You want to get some Nikes. So you be looking for even old shoes that still had an Adidas on it or whatever. You be thinking about, okay, I can buff that when I get home and get some polish, put it on there, boom, 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 make it new. You was doing everything you can not to look like the poorest person in the room. I promised myself as a kid, I wouldn't get back to being that poor. That I didn't have to be rich. I just had to be outside of this realm of what just kept me down. I was like, man, as a kid, I was like, just not down as I am less than, but I felt like I was poor. I really felt it. And so I was like, always, even in my younger age, I was always trying to prove myself, trying to move ahead further and further, and competing with myself. Then after making that video, I had this eureka moment, this epiphany. Donald Trump was the poor kid out of the billionaires around him. You didn't hear me. Everybody thinks that Donald Trump is being rich, but Donald Trump has always wanted to be around like the wealthier people, and they never accepted him. But it never clicked into my head that Donald Trump was the poor kid amongst the billionaires his dad hung out with. So That explains why Donald Trump is so excited and enamored by richer people, because he's always wanted to be accepted by them. He's enamored by gold because it means royalty and regal, and there's nothing royalty or regal about him. He has to place these things around him so that he absorbs that. It makes him feel like he's important, but he's not. You have to understand something. Donald Trump acts like he's new money. He doesn't act like he's old money. He's stuck in new money mode. Old money. I've been around people who have old money, right? Old money people don't think of money as money. It's just a transaction. They're just chill with it. Yeah, go get this, go get that. They don't ever mention how much shit costs. They want something, they get it. If you want something, they get it. There is never a quid pro quo. It's just comfortability, comfort zone. You can tell somebody who has old money. They don't have the mentality, can I afford it? They don't have the mentality that that plane is worth more than that plane. They have the mentality of, does that plane have everything I need in it? Because I'm going to need to do this. I want a pool on it. I got 2 helicopters, so I'm going to need that on it. And I like the design of gold and everything, but not so much. Yeah, I want it to be heated. Oh, I want it cool and heated floors, because when I'm walking, I want to feel, when it's hot outside, I want to feel coolness on my feet. When it's cold outside, I want to feel warmness on my feet. I want to have this and that in it and that. Yeah. And I want to have marble, this, that. And they don't think about the price. Just do it. Donald Trump is always saying numbers. Millions and billions and millions and billions and millions and thousands of millions and trillions and trillions. You don't hear really rich people talking about their money. You hear wannabe rich people talking about their money. Donald Trump talks like a person who doesn't have money. He doesn't talk like a person who has it. He brags about the money he has. Rich people don't brag about their money. They show, depending on how they act, they show their money by what they buy. Have you ever heard Elon Musk? Yeah, I paid $55 billion for this, and I'm going to pay $100 billion for that, and I'm going to pay $100 million for that. No, they don't. They just buy. They let everybody else talk about them. Donald Trump is always begging. He is always trying to fit in. Donald Trump was the poor rich kid that never got accepted amongst the billionaires. His dad tried to thrust him around. And to top it off, their kids were smart, learning multiple languages. Donald Trump was dumb. He still hasn't learned the English language. He can't put a sentence together. And this ain't new. He never could. That's why his professor at the Wharton Business College literally said he was the dumbest goddamn student I've ever had in my life. Visceral. He couldn't stand it because of the money that was being fed and he had to stay there. It sounds like this professor would have loved to have kicked him out, but it was economically sound that he had to be there because this dude couldn't obtain shit, couldn't retain shit. And we've had that. Money has made this man who he is, his dad's money. He lost it all, y'all. He lost casinos because Donald Trump is remedial. He's not smart. But he is maniacal. He knows strategies to be able to get people to do what he wants them to do. What his dad taught him that I think he excelled with is manipulation. I guarantee you, on every person that's kissing his butt, he's had either a private eye or somebody watch them do what they do. I don't care if he got them dating somebody too young, like Matt Gaetz. I don't care if he's got them, broken some kind of law. He has got all of them wrapped up because in all honesty, every last one of them has been around him long enough to know, up close and personal, he is dumber than a box of rocks. So what I noticed, and all these other people have noticed, even Putin and all that, Donald Trump wants so bad to be them. His last message that I seen, that him talking to one leader or whatever he was behind the scenes, he was talking about how strong, Crown Prince is, and when people do things, they bow and all like that, and they want to do it, they get to it right away, and how they revere him. And he literally told this guy, like, his aspiration is for American people to do that to him. Always trying to get something he doesn't have. He is the president of these United States, the most powerful man in the world, and he's yearning to be one of the weaker countries that has a lot of money, but a dictatorship or autocracy where everybody else is broke just as well, but the rich people are just extraordinarily rich. He wants to be something he's not even recognizing that he is the leader of the free world, the richest country in the world. But he sees simple shit like a child. He sees gold. He sees what they do with their money. They buy a bunch of shit with their money. America's more frugal. It's not all about what we have, and we don't sit here and show our military prowess because we don't have to. The strength is not having to do that and being the strongest. See, the thing about America and the way you kind of like can see it is America's owed money. Even though these countries have been around for longer than us, China's been around 5,000 years, but it's our money that runs the world right now. And because of that, we're the superpower everybody's trying to get at. So Donald Trump doesn't see that he's sitting at the crown where everybody wants to bow down to. And instead, he's running around bowing down to all of them because he's a child. He sees simple shit. Oh, there's gold. There's gold. Look, it's gold. He's like, yeah, take the gold, idiot. Give me the power. Take the gold. That's what Donald Trump is. He's transactional. The things he sees, like when you give a little kid something new, they're like, oh, shiny. That's him. He's enamored by gold and shiny objects, which makes him an easy sucker. So as the president of these United States, he don't understand his power. No. He wants people to bow down to him and kiss his butt and give him things like his family should have gave him, like attention, love, care. They couldn't afford to do that because he wasn't worthy in their minds. So he's been seeking it throughout other people, which makes him a mark, an easy mark. Rich people can get this fool to do anything. This fool, if you gave him 7 of these planes, would sell America to another country and go off playing with look at the plane, it's nice, got a nice wing. That's Donald Trump. He's slow. He doesn't even realize he is the top, the cream of the crop. Everybody wants to do deals with America, and this dude is playing stupid games, acting like people owe him stuff. Give me, give me, give me. When these countries like China is looking at him like, Like when if you're not black growing up, you hear like, bless his heart, bless his heart. You hear that? Not a compliment. They ain't talking about blessing your heart for real. They're calling you stupid. So he's one of those bless his heart children. You can tell if he was around anybody black that had, in his growing up phase, and they were either babysitting him or whatever, they knew this boy was stupid. He was special. He was special. Took the short limo to school. You know he did. And that's because the short bus wouldn't carry him because they were too scared to put him on with the rest of them. You know this to be true because how he fawned over a 13-year-old plane when he's got a brand new one being built for him. But he saw the pictures. Oh, so beautiful. That's why Donald Trump has baby-like, childlike adjectives. Oh, it's so beautiful. And just big, beautiful plane. I want this to be called the Big, Beautiful Bill. It's all childlike. That's the grasp of his intellect. It's scary. It's very scary that somebody like that is leading this country. It says a lot to the rest of the world. Can you imagine what these other countries are thinking about? America's fucked right now. All we gotta do is pay this fool. He'll do whatever we want. I promised to give him a plane that America probably ain't gonna allow him to have. And he went and released sanctions just because I gave him a plane. So fucked up about it is, we gave him our used plane. I would have easily gave him the new plane, but he sucks at negotiating. He claims himself to be a huge negotiator. And he got our used plane that we don't use anymore. If he had negotiated, he could have got this brand new one that's coming off the out of the plant next month. But he bargained for the old one. The one we put a shit ton of miles on. Yeah. I remember what I did in this room. You walk in there with a black light. This dude went and got a huge, they're going to give it to him if we shouldn't allow it to happen, but they're saying this. But think about it. You can go in that plane right now with a black light, and I guarantee you it's stuff all over the walls, on the floor. He's getting he's excited about getting a hand-me-down. That right there let me know he was new money mentality. No old money person is going to take somebody's hand-me-down. If they did, they tear it down and rebuild it. Think about it. Old money, Elon Musk, can't stand him. But he took Twitter, surviving business, and broke it down, destroyed it. $55 billion just destroyed. Tesla owns it. A crazy amount of money. He went to go do Doge, and as it was failing, continued doing his business. Because he know he'll always have money. Donald Trump, the moment China said nope, and Japan said, you know what? Let's get our stock out of this country. This country's tripping. Let's sell those bonds real quick. Just sell them. As soon as the bonds started being sold off, hold on. 145. Let's see. We might be able to put that on hold for 90 days. Let's see what we got. He rolling the dice with our country and losing. This dude is not good at casinos. He's gambling with our country, and he lost casinos. So, Donald Trump is the poor rich kid that would never fit in. Nobody wanted him over his house. He was too stupid amongst rich people, so they're like, nah, I don't want my kid dumbed down, hang around your kid. Your kid is still eating paint and glue, and he's 32. Nope. Get him away from our kids. Not at all. That's why he ended up going on another country to get an immigrant to marry, because the people around him ain't about to marry him. People who grew up with him know damn well they weren't going to marry him. I don't want my kids growing up being that stupid. That's why his kids look like Beavis and Butthead when they were younger. All of them had plastic surgery. Look at them. Go look at the pictures of them. Man, they look goofy as hell. Look like he married his cousins or some shit. They turned out crazy looking. And you'll trip at how much better they look now. You'll be like, oh, but they still ugly. It's crazy, yo. It's crazy. But go look at them before. You would think they're two different human beings. You would think these people were two different, each one of them would be different human beings. And everybody's talking about Tiffany not being the cutest one and stuff like that. Tiffany's the only one that didn't do all the damn surgeries. They all look worse than her. Keep it a buck. Keep it a buck. Now, I'm going to go ahead and I write these speeches. Y'all know. Y'all don't want to hear it. Y'all have to hear it. But we're going to get into the speech that I wrote about America not being for sale. See, what Donald Trump is doing is selling America down the river. Because you gotta understand something. You know, as much as I talk shit about America, it's only because I want it to be a better world, not to regress and go backwards. I do believe, even if I'm falsely doing this, is assuming this, but it's the only country I grew up in, and I do believe, to me, it's one of the greatest countries in the world. The freedoms we have, even though we got some crazy stuff that goes on, the racism, everything like that, but that's in every country. But as much as black people fought in this country, we've come a long way. Things that we've done has benefited white people, has benefited other countries who have given us credit, saying thanks to black people in America, they were able to have a better life in Europe or a better life in Brazil because of what we fought for, and they ended up fighting for it too. So I'm very proud of what black people in America have done, and other cultures as well who have benefited from that, and just to be an American, period. To me, it meant something growing up being American. I wasn't judging myself to Africa, to none of that, because I haven't been there. You can't compare yourself to something you don't know anything about unless you listen to the stereotypical lies and BS that this country has put out there for us to kind of like feel like we're better than anybody else. But I liked it because I love the freedoms we had. I got bused to an all-white school, so I got a chance to be able to see both sides of that fence and befriend white people and them befriend me and start to break down some of those barriers when we were younger. And so, you know, I love America for that growth. The opportunities to be able to own a home when we didn't have it before, but our ancestors fought for it. And so as we get to become a better and better country, I know we got more work to do, but each generation should get better and better, not regress. And I see us regressing because certain groups of people in this country are jealous that other people are rising and they feel like they're stagnant. Instead of pulling themselves up by the bootstraps like they tell everybody else to do, they want to destroy everybody else's life so they can automatically be shifted up to the top. That same colonizer mentality, all while saying, I'm not like my ancestors. You're repeating exactly what your ancestors did. You got to understand, slavery started later. The idea of colonizing started first. It wasn't like instant slavery, instant colonization. There was planning and thought processes that went into this. There was visiting the new world, so to speak, and realizing, what can we do to them? Oh, we'll poison them. We'll do this. Then they had to come back under false pretenses. It was a strategy. What they're doing now is a strategy. They keep coming back. Project 2025 is the exact same thing the European people came to this country and did to the indigenous and Native Americans. It's the exact same thing. But we don't see it that way because most of us don't know the history. And if you do know the history, you think it's so far away. And those who get pissed off and say, I'm not my ancestors, I didn't have slaves, then you should realize before there was slaves, they're doing exactly what you're doing now. So you can't say you're not your ancestors when you're actually doing what your ancestors did. It's the same example that I tell people when you talk about it, when you're not your ancestors when it comes to what's going on in Israel to Palestine, things of that nature. I'm like, go back and look at what your ancestors did first before you say you're not one of them, because you're still saying the same things and doing the same things that they did. You can't say you're not something if you haven't researched what they did. Like people talk about Hitler, and I'm like, you can't justify or say what Hitler's a horrible human being. You can't do. I'm like, excuse me. Yes, we can. Because why? You're looking at the totality of Hitler. You're looking at the most horrific things he did and discrediting what Donald Trump is doing because he hasn't done that latter part. We're not at that phase, boo. The phase where we're at is him taking over the government, each little piece of it. He started out, causing great division. Then saying that news media was fake news, exact words, fake news, right? Then started kicking people out of the country unfairly. Then decided to start unaliving some of these people to show an example. Then started to imprison these people for no other reason and hunting them down and putting them in cages. Then, as it got worse and worse, that's when you get down to the part of throwing them and starving them and putting them in the gas tanks and getting rid of them, a lot of them at one time. It was a gradual phase. So if we say somebody's like Hitler, these people, some Jewish people who've been through the Holocaust, they get all, oh, I'm like, yo, chill out. We ain't say he got to that part yet. But if you don't check him where he's at, don't wait till it gets to the phase and they start collecting your ass. They're already collecting people. And some of these people just still don't see it. They're collecting brown people without just cause and sending them off to prisons, the worst prisons. They've never committed a crime. Over 75% of them have never committed a crime. Only 12% of them have ever committed a crime, and they're talking about shoplifting, not unaliving people. Then there's 22% they just don't know if they committed a crime or not because they don't have enough information on them, which would still mean you don't have the information, they haven't committed a crime, innocent until proven guilty. So you're looking at really 88% of them have never committed a crime that you can admit. So you got 88% of them in a prison somewhere that haven't committed a crime whatsoever. Tell me that ain't Hitlerish. And people still don't want you to say the comparison. Because, oh, you're just too hyper, going too far with it. And shut up. Go back and look at history and see what phase we are in the Hitler journey. Because trust me, it is the Hitler journey. With Donald Trump saying, I want my people to bow to me like the crown prince gets bowed to, who runs a semi-constitutional autocracy, is authoritarian. And he's talking about he wants people to bow to him like he's authoritarian. Not in America, bro. But he literally said that out loud to somebody, not knowing he was being recorded. This is the president of the United States, a simp that wants people to bow to him because nobody else in his life ever thought he was good enough for shit except for these MAGA minions who are a bunch of dipshits. It's all coming out. You can see it. We look stupid, yes. I own you. It's serious. It's crazy. All right, this is a speech that I wrote. It says, America is not for sale. Just to give some of it has a little historical background to it, but I'm going to go ahead and read it. It says right here, ladies and gentlemen, fellow Americans, and I'm speaking to you guys as Americans in this because I really believe in America. I do. It's the only country I've had. It's the one that I love, the people that I love, I care about. I think that, if we really started caring about people, we could end some of the ills that we have. Poverty, people who are on the street alone. If we really cared, we could make these things happen and have a better world because of it. But when we see these things and these things aren't working, you got to realize, you got to break it down to the simplicities. We just don't care. Because if we did, we'd solve it. All right. So ladies and gentlemen, fellow Americans, I come before you not with fear, but with fire. Because today we stand at a crossroads. Not for politics, but for principle. Not of party lines, but of our national spine. America was never built on handouts. We did not become the most powerful nation on earth because someone gifted us a throne. We became exceptional because we earned it. Brick by brick, dream by dream, sweat by sweat. Our founders didn't wait for permission from kings. They wrote a declaration to the world that freedom is not given, it is claimed. We claimed it. Through every trial in our history, from civil wars to civil rights, from economic crashes to moon landings, we stood tall. Not because we were always perfect, because we never gave up. We climbed, we clawed, and we carved our name into the granite of global leadership with the unshakable belief that this nation belongs to the people, not to monarchs, not to oligarchs, and certainly not to the highest bidder. But now we're watching something different, something dangerous. Donald Trump, a man who inherited his fortune, but not the dignity of earning it, has shown the world that his loyalty has a price tag. When he accepts a 13-year-old jet from the royal family of Qatar, a nation with its own interests, its own power plays, he is not projecting strength. He is signaling surrender. Not surrender in battle, but surrender in spirit. We are not a country that takes hand-me-downs from foreign monarchies. We are not a nation that lets others decorate our leaders with gilded gifts while they negotiate behind the curtain. That's not diplomacy. That's dependence. He acts like a man starstruck by wealth, not aware of the weight of the office he holds. And the world sees it. They see a president who can be flattered, who can be bought. And in that moment, the image of America as a beacon of power dims. Because when our leaders accept gifts like beggars instead of stand like builders, they insult the blood, sweat, and sacrifice of everyone who made this country great. But let me tell you something. America is not a brand. America is not a business deal. America is not for sale. We are the descendants of builders and believers, people who didn't inherit their pride, they earned it. And we still live in that spirit. In every teacher who works late for their students, in every nurse who works double shifts, in every factory worker, every soldier, every small business owner who refuses to give up. This is America. This is who we are. So no, we will not let our legacy be auctioned off to foreign powers. We will not allow one man's vanity to tarnish a nation's valor. We will not be remembered as the generation who stood silent while our reputation was pawned for power. Instead, we rise. We fight for the honor of our nation, not because we hate what it's become, but because we love what it's meant to be. And we will fix what is broken. We will stand taller than the lies, stronger than the corruption, and louder than the whispers that say our best days are behind us. Because America is not a gift to be given. It is a gift that was earned. And we will never let anyone sell it for personal gain. And may we always remember the true wealth of this nation was never in gold or jets. It was in us, we the people. That's the end of that speech for y'all. But just know that we fought too long and too hard to be called basically simps. That our freedom is not for sale. Money is an item, a product. It is not the spirit of who we are. I'm so sick of people just fawning over cash. It is just paper. There's more about being a human than there is paper. I understand we got to get by, but we don't have to sell ourselves to do so. We work hard like we've always done. Put our head down and make something of ourselves. Start businesses. Help other people out. Donate. Do charity. Help people build. Back in the day, if a house burned down in the neighborhood got together and help build that house back. Community. That's America. This crap we've become is sickening. This man and many others have put money above people. It's about time the people got together and said, your money's no good with us if you're not focusing on us. It's time we break the billionaires down and say, you won't become a billionaire if we're not buying from you. Open up the markets and we'll start buying other products that we don't need your Lululemons. We don't need your Nike. We don't need your McDonald's. We don't need your Taco Bells. Those are things that some of us want, but it's a difference between a want and a need. We need people to give a damn about the American citizens who pay taxes and expect our country to be working for us and not for your damn self. You're supposed to be providing service to the American people, not service to your bank account or service to other leaders. Your service is supposed to be to America. And Americans need to wake the hell up and vote out anybody who is not representing your community. But before we even get to that, you need to get in touch with your community and really learn who you're living around. Because if you don't have anything in common, you might want to move. And if you do have something in common, you might want to unite. Because it's about time Americans start fighting for America. Because these people are trying to destroy us. As you saw, $15,000, they're going to raise your taxes up to the point where you won't be able to feed your families. You ain't fighting now, you can't complain later. What I just equipped you with, you should know. And if you don't want to believe what I got to say, I promise you, I would love the fact for you to go fact check it so you can find out more. Because what I give you is just a snippet, an hour, 2 hours. There are many hours of information out there that's going to help you become a better citizen for this country and be able to help your family for generations to come. That's my 2 cents. I'm going to go ahead and thank y'all for being here. Thank you, Kristen Thompson, for being here. I appreciate you being a member. Rude Interplanet Janet, thank you for being here. Also appreciate all my members. Who else is in? I think I got 2 members in here. Yeah, it seems like it's only 2. The rest of y'all, appreciate you showing up and showing out. You can become a member any day if you want. If not, I understand. Yeah, Alice early. What's up, Alice? I ain't seen you in a minute. Good to see you. I don't know if you stayed around. You took your message out. You retracted it. Hi, Cindy. Thank you, Cindy S. Go back up to the top. See if people, I don't want to miss anybody. Give shout outs to all those who support me. I'm almost back to the top. All right. All the rest of y'all, I appreciate y'all being here. You know, I do my best to try and find out the information on a day-to-day basis and be able to provide you with that information and a little bit more in depth than most places will give you. Most places are gonna tell you more about what they know in a small snippet of information. I want to give you like a full-on understanding of what we got going, right? That's why I don't cover a lot of stuff, because if I do, I can only give you a little bit. But I want to give you like an inspiration about what's going on and how we can come together and make things better. For all you here, I appreciate y'all. You have a good night. I will be doing my mental health show a little bit later, probably in the next 15 minutes or so. And I'll see you guys over there on TikTok, Mr. Straight Facts 23, I believe now. And other than that, tomorrow, I think tomorrow is about Thursday, the 15th. I'll see some of you guys tomorrow at around 5:30 Pacific Standard Time. I'm trying to get a consistent time, and that 5:30 is the closest I can get now. So 5:30 Pacific Standard Time. We'll be back tomorrow with more facts and more understanding of what these things are about. So you guys take care. Have a good evening, and I'll see you when I see you.